So Pep Guardiola finally lost to Mikel Arteta in the Premier League, two close friends that have now turned to rivals. This is the first time City have lost back-to-back games since 2018, so let's take a deep dive into the tactics and see what happened. So let's take a look at Guardiola's game plan. Both managers' philosophies is usually for the wingers to stretch the pitch and hug the touchline, which creates room in the half spaces for the interiors to take advantage of. But in this game it was a bit different. What we would see is that the wingers were quite narrow and we would see Gvardiol and Kyle Walker on the outside. Once everyone was in their set positions, you noticed there was a narrow front three and Bernardo Silva was the holding midfielder ahead of Rico Lewis and Kovacic. The game was quite compact, played in the centre of the pitch.
Well, the fact we haven't Rodri, I want to put more protection with the ball. The players like they are really good with the ball with Bernardo Kova and Enrico, and have players in the middle that have the ability to turn and attack.
And here you can see them trying to play between the lines and probe Arsenal. And if they do turn over the ball, there's only a small amount of space to cover, seeing as they don't have Rodri. Now let's get into the David Raya effect and how he affected the game. So normally what we would see is Arsenal building a back three, everyone would shift over, Zinchenko would invert into midfield and would be a box midfield. But today, this time what we saw was David Raya was essentially a centre back, giving Arsenal a +1 in build up. So this would allow White and Zinchenko to hold the width and push up, creating a front six with Rice and Jorginho in a double pivot. It would make it harder for City to press, but City would still apply pressure when they could, and there were some shaky moments.
And for David today was tough because I knew that the crowd at some stage he could react like this, but it's what demanded him to do and what we needed to do.
When City would press, Haaland would have a two-way job of Jorginho and Saliba. Rico Lewis would also do the same with Rice and Gabriel. They would then be backed up by Kovacic on Jorginho and Silva on Rice. But Raya would always have the overload over their front line. They would look to draw in the Manchester City press and exploit the space in behind and play diagonal balls over the top into the channels for Jesus to run onto.
High pressing is difficult to do it because Raya had the ability to play in short and long. It's not easy to control these long balls.
You can see from the data that Raya led Arsenal in final third entries. His distribution was key, and when you compare Raya and Ramsdale after their first 4 games for Arsenal this season, you can see that there's such an improvement. Now let's look at Pep Guardiola's sneaky little trick. So because the game was quite compact and White was doing a man marking job on Foden, Foden would look to drag him out of position and create space in the channels. Gvardiol would then look to exploit that space when Ake would play a pass into him. So how did Arteta respond? He responded by dropping Jesus into the backline and creating a back 5. He then made Jorginho, Rice and Trossard be a 3 in the middle, and it was a 5-3-2 out of possession. Let's talk about the Declan Rice effect. When City would build up from the back, they would split their centre-backs and build with 2 pivots, which were covered by Odegaard and Rice. City would then look to draw in the press and exploit Arsenal's high line. Haaland would play the ball off to Alvarez similar to how he did it to De Bruyne at the previous fixture, but the difference is Declan Rice can cover a lot of ground and he makes it back just in time to lean and put Alvarez off so his shot goes over the bar. And looking at his stats, you can see how much he helped nullify Man City's transitional threat. So let's look at how Arteta got the better of Pep. Manchester City were lining up in a 4-1-4-1 shape off the ball. They then made some substitutions and brought on Nunes, Stones and Doku and switched to a 4-4-2. Arteta then quickly reacted knowing that Doku would cause Zinchenko problems and brought Tomiyasu on. He also brought on Havertz and Partey, and Martinelli came on for Trossard at half time. So because City switched to a 4-4-2, Martinelli and Jesus would hug the touchline, which would drag Walker and Gvardiol wider. Foden is meant to be marking Tomiyasu, and Tomiyasu sees that there's space in the half space to exploit and makes a blindsided run in behind Foden. Arteta and Declan Rice point at Partey to make him aware of the run. He then plays the ball in over the top. Tomiyasu knocks it down, Havertz holds it up, Martinelli shoots and he scores a deflected goal. 1-0 to the Arsenal. All in all, it was a good game of 2 great friends that ended up rivals. Sort of like a chess match, because none wanted to lose, and Arsenal actually nullified Manchester City, and that's all because of Declan Rice and William Saliba. If you like the video, please like, comment and subscribe.